Hey, welcome. I am Michael Clark. It is 4/21/20, and this is Facts at 5. Thanks for stopping by. And so, Morgan, what's been going on?
Oh my gosh, Michael, I haven't seen you in so long. Where have you been? It's so good to have you back.
Well, thank you very much.
It's so very good. We're very, very happy that you're back and well.
Thank you. And I am feeling good. No, I didn't have coronavirus.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's too bad. Okay.
No, I don't.
I had a stroke, as you can hear by my voice. Still recovering, but getting along quite well now.
You look it.
Close to
sure.
99%, I think. But
And you have a super cool cane.
yeah, I do have a cane,
Which is awesome. It needs more. I think we need to get like a fox or something, or like some fancy thing.
With some kind of head on it or something, roaring head. So, what's going on? What's going on?
I don't know. There's been this crazy virus. I don't know if you've heard about this global pandemic.
It's a hoax.
It's a hoax?
I believe it.
Well, in case you missed the news, there is a global pandemic.
Yes.
And I think that we started out with you, and we did about 2 weeks, and then we had Chrissy Sampson, who
was wonderful.
Was from the East Hampton Star and just happened to be here and happened to be married to one of our technicians and did the most incredible job and kept me in my facts. And we want to thank Chrissy Sampson and the East Hampton Star for her substituting for a while.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. And do you think she was happy that you grabbed her by the collar that day?
I think she was. I don't know. But I literally looked up and I was like, oh, wait, she could do this because I didn't know what to do. So It all worked out.
It's all good.
Okay, so we have, at the beginning, we usually do the statistics from last night. And unfortunately, the last statistics that we got were not very, it's only from 105, from 4/21, which is today, but we didn't get the full town thing. So I will just give the ones that we have. For right now, we have 129 confirmed cases in East Hampton.
Okay.
Which is about 6 per 1,000 people.
Right.
In Southampton, it's a lot bigger. It's 473, which is about 8 per 1,000 people. We talked about that a little bit yesterday about how it's denser, et cetera.
Hey, I was watching the show.
Oh, I'm sure. But we, we're definitely not out of the woods.
Yeah.
But we're hopefully sort of getting there. And it's strange to even talk about that when we're talking about how many people are dying per day, as if that's the leveling off is not like, woo, it's fantastic news.
Yeah.
It's a leveling off.
You almost get numb to it. The fact that, those are, every single one of those numbers is someone's life.
Is someone's life and affects so many people. Right.
Yeah, it's just like, it's unreal.
I think we've been, and I hope that we are honoring that, but it is hard too, because you feel like these are numbers, and then you realize that every one of these people has a story, has family.
Yep.
It's excruciating.
Sure.
Okay, so let's move, though, to some business news quickly. One of the, Diana Weir, who's the chair of our board, sent some information today from, about this place called Operation Main Street.
Yeah, I've heard of that, actually.
And what it is, it's created to encourage residents to buy gift cards online from local merchants with gift card programs.
Okay.
But this is actually a message for the small business owners out here. Small business owners should go to operationmainstreet.com and check it out, sign yourself up, because I thought, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing thing. And then I went on and there was nobody from East Hampton or Southampton on there yet. So small businesses should do that, because this is a way then you can advertise your business and you can share it online. It's pretty amazing.
It's not very new, though, right? I mean, it's been around for a little bit.
You know what? I have no idea about that part.
I'm surprised that we don't have more people. So it's good that we're
right.
We're out there encouraging people to do that.
And as usual, it's at the end. It's egifters.com, efforts to aid in the battle to save small businesses across the country. So we definitely want to save our small businesses, and that is going on a slate at the end, operationmainstreet.com.
Okay, that's great. And then, what was great for me when I was not here, but I was really able to take in a lot of the news and a lot of things that are happening and really see what's going on. And to be able to see, I know when I was on this previously, but time and time again, talking about how businesses have stepped up and how people have stepped up and how we've come together as a community. And, we're getting to the point where, we're all kind of a little sick of it and we're, snipping at each other and yelling and those type of things.
I don't know what you're talking about, Michael.
But, the stories continue. So here we got Ken Wright of the Wright and Company Construction has organized a team of more than 100 people to provide medical workers with 10,000 isolation gowns.
Wow.
Which have been highly in demand and short supply, as we know, during this whole pandemic. And Riverhead Building Supply, they provided 300,000 square feet of plastic sheeting
Wow.
and 10 miles of tape in order to make that happen. And Riley Architecture, which has been suspended, so that they can stay in compliance. They cut the sheeting and did all. Anyway, it was a big group effort to make these type of things happen, and more of these things come out every single day.
It's amazing that people have just stepped up to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
And any news from the political front?
Well, really what everybody wants to know is when are we going to be able to go to the beach? When are we going to be able to get back out? And if you saw the show yesterday, there were a ton of people in Montauk, and it's a gorgeous day. Everybody wants to get out. Bridget Fleming, during your daily update, addressed that a little bit. She was saying that they're talking about planning for the summer as parks become more enticing. It looks like we're going to have some level of restriction. And I think this was interesting and good. She said it's important to be clear-eyed about what is still happening.
Yes.
And she emphasized that 34 people died in Suffolk County in the last 24 hours, and I think this was yesterday that she said this. So this was the night before last. We're approaching 900 deaths. This isn't anywhere near over. So Bridget is saying, we're not quite there yet. Peter Van Scoyoc yesterday also, what they're going to be doing is that the town is going to have a summer planning working group. Because how are we going to deal, and this is interesting, this is what we've been talking about this whole time, because it's like you take one thing away and everything and it affects this person over here and this person over here completely differently.
Yeah.
And one of the things, so you think you go to the beach, we have all this space, but you've been to the beach in August.
Yeah.
It is, crammed with people. So he was saying, but what protocols do you put in place so people can distance themselves? Do you have a grid pattern? And when is that grid full? And just close the beaches? And I was like, okay, well, whatever, we can do that. But then how about when those people are so far away from the lifeguard stand that then they drown?
Right.
I mean, that's not what he said. That's what I'm saying as a question. I mean, this is all of the things that has to be thought out by these people in charge. And thank God.
And the reality is that they can put these protocols in place and that we can do these things, but unless we carry them out, unless we trust our leaders and right all the way up to the president, we may not necessarily agree with their politics, but unless we feel that they're making the right decision and go along with those protocols, it's not going to work anyway.
It's not going to work. Right.
So it's they I know I think I was watching on TV and the guy from Shark Tank, Mark Cuban was on, right? He just happened to be on. And he was talking about, and they said, well, how would you rate Donald Trump? And not to get into a political discussion because that's not what we're about. And he said, I'd have to give him an A+ because in a situation like this, in a pandemic like this, I think that people need a place to blame. They need an opportunity to blame something to lash out.
You're never going to be 100% right.
You are not. And
even
Monday morning quarterback
right.
is easy. That's easy to
do. Right.
Yeah. So I guess more to follow on all of that, but the beach situation is going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one. It was tough last weekend with just a nice day in Montauk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully people will abide because that's what we need to have happen. Unfortunately, some, are not. But I think that the state is really stepping up. The state and the town are really stepping up.
Yeah. I mean, they again, going along with the protocols, they had all the cones up out there at the lighthouse, and I was reading all about that. And people were actually physically removing the cones. just try going in. Like, sorry, this doesn't apply to me.
Oh my
You know,
goodness. Oh my goodness.
it's human nature, right?
Okay, let's talk about nice people. Let's talk about nice people. We have good news. We have a good news headline.
We do. AFTI, all for the East End, is which is run by Claudia Maeta. And Jay Schneiderman's idea, really. They put all of the fact that the pantries are running out of food
Right.
and running out of money, and everybody needs to eat. So put it all together under one big umbrella, and let's get all the money funneled into one place and then have it distributed out. And it's kind of hit a note with people. They are basically, I think they're just a couple weeks in, but it's like $450,000 that they've raised at this point. With some big people getting involved.
And their goal is to raise $1 million.
$1 million, right?
Yeah, $1 million.
And that's, although it sounds like a lot, it's really not, I guess, in a situation like this. But and they've done so many different great things on the East End. AFTI has, and it's community outreach and everything else. But they're saying that the shutdown of our economy is necessary for public health, but it's hitting our workforce hard. Food pantries are seeing a surge in families seeking assistance. Fortunately, those in a strong financial position and to weather this storm are opening their hearts and their wallets to help those in need, said Jay Schneiderman. So, yeah. And we'll keep you posted. We're going to be coming out working on PSAs and that. Our friend Angela LeGrec is working on that, so more to follow on that one as well.
And that is AFTE.org, right? AFTEE.org, and that will be at the, I have that on the slates, if people want to donate to that too. And Angela, as we said, will be doing follow-up with that.
Right.
Okay, so after this segment of us, and thank goodness Michael Clark is back, Christy Sampson is interviewing Christopher Berry from East End Cares, and that will be on immediately following. And tomorrow, Angela interviewed Mala Sander from Corcoran, and she's going to be talking about what her insights on what is happening with the real estate market, which is very interesting to all of us, because what will this mean? Everything changed. I don't know if they talk about this, but I was thinking this. Everything changed after 9/11. What's this going to do?
Right. Right.
It's going to be interesting to find out, but that's tomorrow. Today is Christopher Berry. And Michael Clark, so glad you are back. Look at you.
If only my legs worked. But no, glad to be back and glad to see your smiling face again, Marion. And onward we go.
On we go.
Okay. So.
Stay home,
thanks,
stay
folks.
safe.
Hello, my name is Christy Sampson with LTV, and here on Facts at 5, we're going to talk today with Christopher Berry of East End Cares. Christopher is the fundraising lead for the East End Cares $5 for Food campaign. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, Chris, you live in East Hampton and you're in the television industry yourself, right?
Correct. Exactly. Been a resident out here for about 7 years, part-time.
Oh, great. So for those who might not know, be familiar with East End Cares, can you tell us a little bit about the organization and how it was first founded?
Sure. Happy to. So East End Care is primarily a social media-based group that connects local volunteers with needs in the East End. I like to think of it as a grassroots problem-solving group where volunteers lead initiatives and lean on each other for support to help give back to our neighbors and to create a better community to live in.
That's lovely. And now, was the group formed around a particular natural disaster?
It's been around since Hurricane Sandy. So really looking for ways to take care of our local communities and people in need from natural disasters. And then it's now expanded into a lot of other initiatives, which I can get into as well.
Okay, great. Thanks. So I understand there are multiple ways to help, but can you tell me what East End Cares is doing for the community right now with regard to food insecurity?
Sure. So I'm the fundraising lead that you mentioned for a new urgent campaign really around stocking up our local food pantries. And so we've called it $5 for food, as you mentioned. And really, it's about every little bit helps, right? Um, Everyone is encouraged to give $5 or more if they have it. And 100% of the proceeds are going to local food pantries here in the East End. So that includes East Hampton, Sag Harbor, Montauk, and the Springs. And it's a partnership between East End Cares and the Clamshell Foundation, which is a local nonprofit here in East Hampton. So it's really about getting money to the food pantries where there is urgent need right now, given the crisis and people losing their jobs.
So let's take a step back and talk about food insecurity in broader terms. What does this phrase
Hmm.
mean, and why is it so dangerous to a society?
Right. Well, I think, first of all, food is a basic need for everyone, obviously, but we need it for our survival. But we also need it to thrive and to contribute back to our communities and take care of our families. So it's really a fundamental basic right that we all have as community members. And when you think about people at risk, it's not a small group. It could be the elderly, could be families with young children, and it could be just people that have lost their jobs and have hit a hard time. So I think what we're trying to say is we don't want this economic crisis to turn into a food crisis. We need to really step it up as a community to take care of each other. And I think those that have the means and that can actually give back, whether it's $5 or more, we can help our neighbors power through what is a real challenging time.
So before the pandemic, was food insecurity a problem here on the East End to begin with?
Yes, so there have been significant needs in the East End that tended to be a little more seasonal, and in the winter months, there was a higher need for people, and then in spring there was more employment, and people were able to support themselves. And what we're seeing now is that there's even more pressure on the pantries as job losses are really hitting all sectors within our community, whether that's retail, whether that's restaurants and bars, hotels, contractors. So it's a really pervasive issue as we look ahead. And I've done some informal polling with the group staff at each of the 4 pantries here, and I can safely say that from what I've gathered, that the needs have increased 2 to 3 times over normal pre-COVID levels, and that it seems like right now these 4 pantries in this month are serving about 1,500 families, which equates to about 3,000 to 4,000 individuals. So I think we all need to think about that. There's people, 3,000 to 4,000 people here on the East End that are really in need of desperate food, and it's urgent and significant.
Can people get help if they need it right now through either a pantry or East End Cares? Who do they reach out to and start the process?
Yes. So you can do research online with the 4 different pantries that I mentioned. They have quite a bit of information available on their websites. East End Cares is also a social media-based group that I mentioned. So Facebook is our primary focal point, but we did launch an Instagram feed as well. So if you go into East End Cares, you'll see information about the 4 pantries and when food is being distributed locally. So you can check it out there.
Sure. Christopher, do you have any other thoughts to share on this subject? Anything that the readers and viewers might appreciate here?
I think it's really just about the needs are significant here in the community, and we really are focusing on food as a basic human right and hoping that, when we help each other, we can make our community stronger. And I think that's the message we want to get out there is we're all in this together, and we're hoping that with the means and resources we can push through.
That sounds really wonderful. And, from here at LTV, we want to say thank you so much to you, to East End Cares, and to the food pantries for doing this good work that is really so critical right now.
Great. And I think the other thing that I'd like to say is just how people can help a little beyond the $5 for food campaign, if I can.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah,
I think,
happily.
so beyond monetary donations, obviously those who have time, that's also an important way to give back to our community. So you can become a volunteer buddy through East End Cares for those who are staying at home. So those would be individuals that are and at risk. So that would be individuals over 60 years of age. Those are who are sick or living with someone who is sick, or someone who's quarantined. So, that would be people coming from New York City that should be quarantining themselves for 14 days and staying at home. So East End Cares will provide you a volunteer buddy to go out and do shopping or other errands so that you can stay safe. So I think that's important. Not only are we keeping individuals safe who are staying at home, but we're also keeping our community safe, right? So that we're not passing along COVID to each other. So I think that's a really important initiative. And all you have to do is check out our Facebook page or email us at eastendcares1@gmail.com and just let us know what you need, and if you're volunteering, what your skills are, and how you want to give back. And then I'd say generally, we're at, and then generally it would be great if people have any other volunteer ways to give back to the community. It's always good to sort of follow your passion and find those other groups that need help too.
Yeah, from my point of view, there's a book titled The Hidden Gifting. And in that book, Dr. Stephen Post, the author, really describes that giving back and volunteering is one of the most meaningful ways to indeed help not just your community, but also uplift yourself in that as well. And I know that research has shown that this is a really important way to interact with each other and to keep yourself uplifted. So, Christopher, do you have that experience as well?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think, during challenging times, we all can feel a little overwhelmed with the current situation. And I think giving back and finding ways to really improve quality of life locally and with people that are in need is a great thing. And, we all go through different phases of life, and sometimes you can give back and sometimes you might need. So I think it's important to try to do what we can when we can.
Exactly. Well, again, Christopher, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And thanks again to East End Cares for all of the important work that you're doing. And everybody should stay home, stay safe, and stay well. And thanks again, Christopher.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.